You're listening to The Bird Bath. This episode of The Bird Bath is brought to you by Pearl AI. Pearl AI is an affordable, always-on AI veterinary solution that combines AI with a team of real, licensed U.S. veterinarians. Get the best of both worlds, the speed of AI and the accuracy of human professionals. With Pearl AI, your clinic can offer real-time 24/7 coverage without hiring extra staff. It also automates screening and triage, lowers your operating costs, and turns more of your site visitors into paying clients. Integrate Pearl through a simple web snippet or API and start growing your practice while you sleep. Learn more at pearl.com/thebirdbath. That's pearl.com/thebirdbath. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. Top story this week, it's got to be a top story when the Justice Department or Department of Justice weighs in on stuff going on in the veterinary industry. The U.S. Department of Justice issued a statement of interest, which is not something that I knew anything about, but a statement of interest talking about the antitrust case that LMU, Lincoln Memorial University, filed against the AVMA Council on Education. So this is bringing us back to a story that we covered in June and then September and sort of ongoing as we talked about a lot of different things about the COE this year. But in June, LMU filed a suit stating that the AVMA and the COE are anti-competitive because of their close relationship there and that they are not fully going through the accreditation process in a way that allows different universities to thrive and a ton of other things. They say that the program must meet arbitrary, unreasonable, and impossible to meet requirements. So they filed a lawsuit about that. Since then, though, the accreditors have greenlit a second LMU program in Florida, and a lot of other things have happened. We've seen Tuskegee go through a lot of things with the COE, and a lot of other accreditation things happening this year. But the big thing was that in September, the AVMA issued a motion to dismiss to try and shut down the lawsuit before it was even tried. And that has not been pulled off the table here. But the Department of Justice does say that there are concerns about conflict of interest at professional associations that are also the accreditors of the universities. In the press release, the Department of Justice is committed to supporting pet owners, livestock farmers, and aspiring veterinarians by ensuring that accreditation standards and procedures do not unnecessarily restrict competition in veterinary education and services. That's from Deputy Assistant Attorney General Dina Calais. The overall point here is that the Department of Justice doesn't weigh in and say, hey, this is what's going to happen. But they are saying, don't just throw this out. This is something that might need to really be looked at a little bit more. It still has to go through a lot of the normal steps here, but it's saying, hey, let's not just dismiss this lawsuit before we really give it a chance to get some legs underneath it. So lots more to check out here. It's going to go now to the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Tennessee, who has to evaluate the motion to dismiss. If they throw out the motion to dismiss, then the next steps of the case would be discovery, and we will start seeing a lot more about what is happening behind the scenes. So stay tuned to that. Next, we've got a bit of a follow-up. I'm not going to dig too deep into it, but it's a bit of a follow-up on the story that we had last week about PetMeds Express and PetMeds, or Pets as it is on NASDAQ. Another company has jumped in and thrown their hat in as a potential acquisition partner for the company. The Cardone Ventures, which is owned by or ran by Grant Cardone, who a lot of people probably know from his wild talks and big speeches and things like that. Cardone Ventures has stepped up and said that they would like to put together a package to be able to acquire the business at $4.25 a share. We talked about Silver Cape previously last week coming out with $4 a share out of Singapore. So Cardone Ventures is stepping up to $4.25. And some of the other things that I read, it sounds like we might start to see a higher and higher number continue to come and play out as more companies are sort of seeing that there's some potential meat on the bones, and that by taking PetMeds private, there's a real opportunity for this to sort of thrive and flourish and maybe turn into something that a lot of people think that the business could do. So again, this whole week is stay tuned. So stay tuned to that. I'm always watching that one. I think it's going to be an interesting way to be able to see how the private market takes on this public company. Two big promotions or new roles were announced in the past couple of weeks, and they're two people that I really want to take a moment here and just give a huge shout out to. First off, we've got Elle Pryor, who has just been announced as the COO of Innovetive Pet Care. Innovetive is a practice group with practices across the southeast of the US and teetering up and bringing it up the East Coast a bit there. And their new COO, Elle Pryor, has been with the company for several years here. She's got an incredible background. She jumped into the role after coming out of working at Merck and Zoetis and a lot of other really cool companies, and has been with Innovetive for almost 6 years, working up the ranks in the operations world. We had the chance to talk briefly with Elle as she was going into the holiday, and she sent us a great quote here telling us, "I'm incredibly honored to take on the role of Chief Operating Officer at Innovetive Pet Care. From cleaning kennels in my father's hospital to leading operations today, my passion for supporting veterinary teams has only grown. I'm grateful for the mentors who shaped my leadership and are energized by the opportunity to help veterinary medicine adapt and grow, while ensuring the work remains meaningful, people feel supported, and teams can truly flourish." So congratulations to Elle. That's going to be an awesome new role. Another new person stepping into a role in a little bit, but announced now, was Sarah Rumpel-Mayhan. Sarah has been somebody that I've known for many years and worked closely with on a few publications and different things like that. But Sarah is going to be stepping up as the editor for Today's Veterinary Business. Sarah's taking over for Ken, who many people have known and worked with, especially if you've been on the media side of things for a long time. And in January, Sarah's going to come in as the incoming editor. She's going to work right alongside the team there until taking over full-time in April. So it's going to be an awesome job here. If you have ever wanted to do any writing for any of these publications, Sarah's a fantastic person to reach out to and to talk with about it. In her announcement, Sarah said, "I've written for this publication," talking about Today's Veterinary Business, "and Ken since 2018, and I can't wait to join the team at NAVC and dive into this next chapter of my professional life." So two really, really cool people stepping into some really neat roles, and I cannot wait to see what both of them do with these opportunities. Our next story comes to us a bit on the pet care side of things and the pet world and the pet supply world. If you've been following along the saga of what's going on with Pet Supply Plus, you probably saw last year in November, their parent company, the franchise group, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And at that time, there was a lot of questions about what was going to happen. Both Pet Supply Plus as well as Wag and Wash, which is the washing, grooming facilities that they have there, were in really strong and well-positioned spots, but their parent company, Franchise Group, was not quite cutting the mustard. June of this year, they were emerging from a plan of reorganization. And now Pet Supply Plus and Wag and Wash are going to be sold off to a group of banks and PE firms with the aim of pursuing growth and their franchise expansions separately from Franchise Group. So they're being spun off into their own independent entities, which is great. I mean, these are two businesses that are going really, really well. It's something that a lot of people have been excited about continuing to see. And in the statement, Pet Supply Plus and Wag and Wash are owned by a group of sophisticated investors made up of large banks and private equity firms. That's what the CFO, Dan McNamara, said in an interview with Global Pets. I'm expecting to see this as an interesting way for us to see the continued growth in this. Now, Looking over to the European market, we've seen Pets at Home, which does a lot of the pet supply sales as well, really be struggling a bit on their retail side of things, but their veterinary care side of things has really been flourishing. So seeing Pet Supply Plus having new ownership and continuing to, what they're saying, do well is interesting in that sense. As well as we've seen and talked about the changes that were going on at Petco as well as PetSmart. So lots of big things in the pet supply world, and this is just another new piece in that puzzle. Finally, to round out this year, we've got one last acquisition. Prosites, which is the parent company of LifeLearn, has acquired Genius Vets. Genius Vets is a veterinary marketing and analytics platform, and they've really built a strong reputation for building high conversion websites, local SEO, paid marketing, and practice level performance analytics. Now, Prosites here already through their LifeLearn portfolio has web DVM, but they're looking to scale and add more robust SEO capabilities and more than just the website. Genius Vets is going to be bringing them a more modern, data-driven growth engine, and they're going to be tracking revenue, performance, and local competition for practices. Ultimately here, this is a really neat thing to be able to see. We're seeing not only a company like LifeLearn, who at a really interesting inflection point was at a spot where a lot of the discharge notes and instructions were at risk of being toppled by a lot of the ChatGPT or AI produced content. LifeLearn has pivoted to creating Sophie, their own internal AI tool that they're now licensing that knowledge as a service out to AI tools and partnering with a lot of people. They're also now bringing in Genius Vets to allow them to get more of a strong foothold into the practices and the entire life cycle of what those practices are going through. So it's going to be a really interesting acquisition. 733 Park advised Genius Vets on the transaction. Genius Vet CEO Harley Orion will continue with the company, and he'll now be the managing director for veterinary practice solutions at LifeLearn. So great stuff to be able to see here. Really excited for the team at LifeLearn, Genius Vets, and Prosites, that parent company. So great things happening there. Now, next week is our last episode of the year. And if you're wondering, Ryan, what are we getting here? Well, it's going to be the first ever Birdies. That's right. We are doing our own award show next week. We are going to be giving out awards for lots of great categories: most juiciest story, top practice group, and tons of other really, really fun sort of things to recap what the year had for us. So be sure to tune in next week on the 30th and hear all of the biggest things that happened in veterinary medicine. This episode of The Bird Bath is brought to you by Pearl AI. Pearl AI is an affordable, always-on AI veterinary solution that combines AI with a team of real, licensed U.S. veterinarians. Get the best of both worlds, the speed of AI and the accuracy of human professionals. With Pearl AI, your clinic can offer real-time 24/7 coverage without hiring extra staff. It also automates screening and triage, lowers your operating costs, and turns more of your site visitors into paying clients. Integrate Pearl through a simple web snippet or API and start growing your practice while you sleep. Learn more at pearl.com/thebirdbath. That's pearl.com/thebirdbath. And for more on these and other stories, join us by subscribing to our Substack. There's a link in the bio. And don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. For The Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.